Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Hi friends, welcome to the 7th session of this course in HRM for non-HR managers. In the previous session, we have discussed the meaning of recruitment. We have also discussed various methods of recruitment. In today's session, we will start with ways to make recruitment more effective. Next, we will discuss how to evaluate recruiting efforts. In the end, we will explore the ways to reduce recruitment costs. To begin with, let's revise the definition of recruitment, which is a process of finding or attracting applicants for the employer's open positions. A recruitment mistake could be damaging in various ways for a company. Evidently, it is a waste of time, hiring the wrong candidate, as the same process will have to be repeated in order to replace the mistaken employee. In doing so, there is a risk that the team efficiency could potentially be damaged, as well as a significant waste of money and resources. Recruitment is a core function of human resource management. Without effective recruitment, a business will struggle to succeed in the long run, no matter how good their values, business plan, and strategy are. Let us understand what makes the recruitment decisions effective. Dessler defines effective recruitment as aligned with the organizational strategy through HR planning. In simple terms, recruitment policy draws from the human resource plans in terms of what number and type of open vacancies to fill. Recruitment sources its direction from the job analysis so that recruiting choices and process are effective. Effective recruitment may require the managers to pay attention to the issues like from which source to recruit, internal or external. We have discussed that in the last session. You may wish to balance infusion of new talent as against providing meaningful career paths for existing employees. The second issue you may like to consider is your organization's commitment to diversity. What would be and what should be your orientation to candidates who represent different genders, castes and regional roots, religious and other affiliations, sexual and other orientations? Sometimes the job specifications are modified due to the non-availability of exactly suitable candidates to the job. If this modification does not affect the job and organizational performance adversely, this act can be viewed as ethical practice. What are the recruiting goals and priorities? Let us see. One is to attract a vast pool of qualified applicants. Second is to attract applicants willing to accept the offers made. Third is to minimize the hiring time as far as possible, to be cost effective. Next is to hire people who perform well. Yet another is to hire people who will stay committed and loyal to the organization. And finally, there is the aim of generating positive public relations spillover. As reported by Competency and Emotional Intelligence, published in 2004, Britannia Building Society recruits on the basis of the candidate's attitudes first and skills and abilities second. As a non-HR manager, you might have felt that your recruiting process is not helping you enough. Is your applicant process long, confusing, or resulting in lackluster hires? If the answer is yes to any of these questions, then it might be time to reevaluate your recruiting strategy. When it comes to finding talent, hiring managers often stick to a specific routine to fill job vacancies. However, if new employees are quitting their jobs within the first 6 months, then these steps may need some fine-tuning. Employees may leave for a variety of reasons, and recruiting isn't an exact science, but there are ways HR professionals improve their levels of hiring success. After all, employee turnover does not benefit either party and may harm your company's credibility and brand in the process. Let us see how HR experts evaluate the recruiting process and what key factors they look for when trying to recharge their recruiting efforts. Gather job applicant feedback. The first step to building an effective recruiting process may be as simple as putting an ear to the ground, says Jen Teague, a staffing and onboarding coach to small and growing businesses. Talk to new hires. Find out what part was the most difficult and what part was the easiest about the process. Looking at the process as a whole and find the steps that can be eliminated. Rewrite your job descriptions. One of the top reasons people leave a company is because the work was not what they expected it to be. While sometimes this can be an onboarding or training issue, it often begins with the job description itself. To find out how past hires have performed, recruiters should reach out to clients to gauge the effectiveness of their past recruiting efforts. If the candidate is not meeting or is exceeding the quota, we may have a discussion of reasons why that person may not be performing up to the expectations and use those insights to improve our recruitment process further. Several HR experts suggest using promoter surveys, which can provide additional context on how well the recruitment process is working. Use quality, speed, and cost metrics. There are 3 core pillars hiring managers can use to evaluate the recruiting process: quality, speed, and cost. While the weight of each of these will differ by company, using qualitative measures can give a comprehensive insight into any recruiting process regardless of complexity, volume, or scale. Typical consideration for quality in recruiting is quality of hire. That is, how many new hires remain in the organization after, say, 3 months. The top line metric is the ratio of the number of candidates presented compared to the number of candidates hired. If you need to investigate where your recruiting process is not working, you can look at the following. One is the number of candidates presented versus the number of candidates interviewed. The other is number of candidates interviewed versus the number of candidates offered the job. And the last one is number of candidates offered the jobs versus number of candidates actually hired. The fundamental consideration when evaluating the cost of the recruiting process is the cost per hire. Hiring managers should ask the following questions. One is, what costs are included in the recruiting process? The second is the cost per hire different if the result is an internal versus external hire? One more question is, should cost per hire be calculated at an organization, function, department, or worker type level? Evaluating your recruiting efforts is really worth it. Great employees are the lifeblood of any company, so attracting and retaining talent should always be a top priority. Taking the time to understand your entire recruiting process allows you to make more effective, successful hires so your company can get the most out of your recruiting rate of return on investment. The question is how to reduce recruitment costs. Before we dive into how to reduce costs, it's worth thinking about what you are spending at the moment and how you are spending it. The cost of hiring a new team member varies significantly depending on how you calculate that cost. If you take into account the onboarding period, which is the time that the new hire takes to get up to full working speed, then the average cost of replacing a single employee could be as high as £30,000 according to analysis from Oxford Economics. If you are looking to reduce your recruitment costs, then there are plenty of ways to achieve it. In many cases, a reduction in how much you spend on talent attraction will be a byproduct of other business initiatives. This represents a significant business expense, especially if you are replacing some employees within a relatively short space of time. Here are 7 ways in which you can reduce your recruitment cost today. One is tap into encouragement. Employee engagement is an essential element of any successful company. Continued efforts to improve wellness, collaboration, and general happiness of employees will lead to an increased level of advocacy. Second is the good old referral scheme. If advocacy is not working effectively enough for you, then there is always the good old employee referral scheme. Offering employees an incentive to source and recommend applicants for a position is a great way to reduce cost, extend your reach, improve integration into business, reduce time to hire, and reduce turnover. Word of mouth and personal recommendations are powerful marketing tools, especially when there are rewards involved. The third is get social. The ability and willingness to communicate socially allow a brand to provide an insight into their day-to-day operations, their vision and values, and the type of employees they currently have. This transparency increases the percentage of applications from individuals who are already confident that they will fit the company culture and share the brand's vision and values. Using social channels helps to reduce your recruitment cost, improve the quality of hire, and reduce the turnover. The fourth way is implement the right tools. Recruitment tools to effectively create, manage, and be successful in any campaign, strategy, or initiative, a business needs the right tool in place. This is not just the case for talent attraction, but also HR, IT, project management, or any element of a brand that contributes to its successful day-to-day running. Streamlining, automating, and ensuring compliance can all be achieved by implementing the right tools for the job and upgrading from less appropriate solutions such as spreadsheets. Recruitment and onboarding software will ensure that you make the entire talent attraction process as pleasant and useful as possible for both the applicant and the employer. The fifth point is about knowing what you want before you advertise. Sitting down and detailing exactly what type of individuals you are looking for and what you will require from them is essential if you want to recruit the right employee as efficiently as possible and to retain them. Mixed messages regarding the requirements, either on your part as the employer or on their part as the applicant, will not only cause problems and delays but will also have a negative effect on your employer brand. If the role can be accomplished by a remote employee, then this increases your potential market exponentially. Many candidates will take the cost of commuting into account when considering a position. Not having to commute every day and cover those costs will be seen as an attractive option. If your HR manager employs a candidate who is unsure as to exactly what it is they are expected to do and achieve, then it increases the chance that they will leave sooner rather than later. High turnover as a result of poorly managed hires will increase your associated recruitment costs and consume your HR and recruitment department's time, the time that could be better spent on proactive initiatives. Sixth is to pool potential talent. These are individuals that you can pool and approach in future should another position open up. Pre-qualifying applicants makes the whole process much easier, quicker, and more cost efficient than sourcing them from scratch. The further through the process the applicant has previously progressed, the more you already know about them. Talent pools are also great for staying in touch and engaging with those individuals you know are interested in working for your brand, increasing the size of your network and potential advocacy. As a manager, we should try to first reduce the need to recruit in the first place. By treating your employees well, ensuring that they remain happy and engaged, and reducing the chance that they will look for alternative employment, you also reduce the need to recruit. Not having to recruit is the best way to save on recruitment costs. In the last part of this session, we are going to now discuss some of the practical applications of the 3 pillars of recruitment cost management that we just discussed. With that, we come to the end of this session, in which we have concluded the second part of our discussion on recruitment. We will now see you in the next session. Until then, goodbye.